I want to bring in David Dayen now, who's been writing excellent stories about this over at the American Prospect. We're going to deep dive the stimulus. One of his recent stories this morning, why a relief bill is so elusive this time, and where the heck is Mitch McConnell? He's got a brand new book out as well, looking at these big corporations that just continue to get bailed out and make all of this money. And the book is called Monopolized: Life in the Age of Corporate Power. And I want to welcome David into the show right now to talk more about that and the stimulus. Hey, David, great to see you here on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So let's just talk about the deal right now. You've written a piece in Unsanitized, your column at the American Prospect, about the current state of affairs and why we haven't gotten the deal yet. Well, of course, we know about the deal last time. Things kind of came together pretty easily last time. Why don't we have a deal this time?
Well, I think there's just a difference in the dynamic. So Republicans really seem to want to protect corporations in the first bill. So they really wanted the security for corporations through this Federal Reserve lending program that they put together, which is a massive program. It's like $4.5 trillion. So they got that in March. There's not much else on the Republican side of the ledger that they really demand, that they really want. And so while Democrats have a lot of unfulfilled sort of priorities, whether it's large funding for state and local government or re-upping the enhanced unemployment benefits, Republicans, there just isn't that level of those kinds of programs that they really need. And so the leverage is completely different, and Democrats are in some ways just sort of arguing. So I think that's really the main obstacle so far to an agreement.
One of the things you write about in your piece this morning is this idea that Mitch McConnell has just been disconnected. You know, we saw the finger pointing over the weekend, of course. We saw the back and forth with White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, Nancy Pelosi. We saw Jim Clyburn saying that Trump will not leave the White House if he loses an election. On and on and on the finger pointing went. But no Mitch McConnell. Why has he been so disconnected in this process?
It's a great question. He really has not been, he put out this blueprint, what they called the HEALS Act, which was a $1 trillion bill. And he doesn't seem to even have majority support within his own caucus for it. And all of these negotiations have been the White House directly with Democratic leaders. I mean, Mitch McConnell has been taken completely off the field. His what seems like his main red line is this idea of legal immunity for businesses who are accused of negligence if a customer or a worker contracts the coronavirus on the premises. But that has sort of been dismissed. The Trump administration officials have said that's not necessarily a red line for them. McConnell has just been completed. I think that unlike in March when he wrote the bill and that really did become the baseline, this time around he wrote this bill that was so at odds with what Democrats were looking for that he sidelined himself. And the fact that he doesn't have this sort of majority from the caucus in support of him even furthers that, because it just weakens his negotiating leverage.
Right. We've heard from Lindsey Graham and others that there's likely upwards of 20 senators who don't want anything at this point. Is it that they are just content that they already got what they wanted, which is just a big corporate bailout, and when it comes to the American people, screw them?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it. They got their what they really needed, which was this corporate bailout. Another part of it is sort of jockeying for 2024. The individuals in the Republican caucus who are most opposed to doing something for the American people right now are people like Ted Cruz and Tom Cotton, who have presidentials in 2024, whether Trump or not, right? He's termed out. So they're posturing that deficit politics might come back vogue, and it's good politics for them to oppose this bill. to get on the side of Republican activists who might be more concerned about deficits down the road. So that is weakening McConnell's ability to bring forward something with a united front.
I love that point that you made in your piece this morning. So I want to go into that a little bit further, because I hope my audience is paying attention right now. That's you said it comes down to two options right now for Republicans: try to salvage the election, which, my gosh, you see the local battleground map this morning from NPR states that Joe Biden, or that Hillary Clinton lost. Michigan, Pennsylvania are leaning more and more blue every day. The fact that even we're talking about Texas, you're seeing the Trump campaign right now has stopped their ad spend to kind of figure out what their message is, with only 40 days left before early voting. So that's one choice you make in the piece, to try to salvage the election. And then the second piece is the second choice is what you just said, which is try to be the deficit hawks in the future in 2022 and 2024. Do you think that's where they're going, is option 2 right now?
I mean, I don't think it's unilateral, but you don't need that many to take option 2 in order to completely blow your leverage as a Senate Republican caucus. So, if Ted Cruz and Tom Cotton and maybe up to 20 Republicans are sort of off the reservation saying, I don't want to vote for anything, then Democrats really hold the key in the Senate to passing anything. And that's why the White House is negotiating with Democrats. So that's how the Senate and Senate Republicans got sidelined from this thing. And of course, even Trump is pretty far apart, because, passing a giant bill now is in some sense an admission that there wasn't enough done to begin with. And the last thing Donald Trump wants to do is admit fault in anything. So, that is, I think, an impediment to getting a solution this time around.
Now, you disagree with me here, or tell me I'm totally wrong, David, but I've been floating this conspiracy theory on the show over the past few weeks of a good cop, bad cop play by the White House right now. And I don't know why the White House has been fairly absent on this over the past few months to begin with, why the president hasn't used the power of the bully pulpit to come out and say, look, we're going to get something big, we're going to re-examine where we are right now, and I'm going to bring both sides together at Camp David, and we're going to figure this out, right? And looking at those poll numbers might have been the smartest move for him to be that leader riding in on the white horse. So now, the Washington Post, Jeff Stein and others reporting this morning, I know you talked about this in your piece, this idea that the Trump administration is examining these options for unilateral action if no coronavirus deal is reached in Congress, that they're going to do some sort of emergency economic plan by the White House, that they would sort of step in here and pull off something on their own. Do you think that the White House will do that, will come in and say, Mitch McConnell is disconnected, the Senate can't get anything done, we're coming in here and we're going to save the day like Superman? What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's like a Truman-esque strategy, right? Run against Congress, do nothing Congress. But the problem is that I don't see any path forward for the White House to be able to do anything that they want to do with regard to unemployment benefits or anything like that. It really does require an act of Congress. And to the extent that they wouldn't, might cause a bigger crisis, more of a constitutional crisis. So best laid plans, but I don't really see that. I don't really see a path forward for that. And the good cop bad cop thing is happening in the same room, right? You have who has made deals with the Democrats, and then Mark Meadows, who was the head of the Freedom Caucus, her career up to this point has been blowing up big deals like this. So you have the good cop, bad cop happening really at the same time.
Great point. Great point. I want to get your take on this breaking news that we just saw just a few minutes ago. Of course, President Trump just tweeting about what happened in Nevada on Sunday. And of course, the White House has been trying to drive a nail into this idea of mail-in voting and saying that there's widespread fraud that will occur. He said that he calls it a illegal late night coup in Nevada, because lawmakers there passed that bill to have November's vote to be conducted by all mail-in ballots. I've been saying here on the show that we've been doing mail-in ballots since the Civil War. Where is this widespread fraud? First of all, can you, to our audience, because I'll get people to say there's fraud, and others who say there's no evidence of that. Is there evidence of widespread fraud from mail-in voting?
No. I mean, just bottom line, there isn't. If there was, then Donald Trump would have to look off, because he has done mail-in voting for the last few cycles, voting, and including this election in Florida. So, this is just sort of trying to whip up some whiff of illegitimacy to the next election. I think the sort of degradation of the post office itself and its ability to conduct its operations is another testament to this. It might be a case that with all of the things you're seeing, all the polls that you just remarked upon, that the only refuge and possibility to salvage any part of this election is to delegitimize the result and try to alter the result through more of a voter suppression type of strategy rather than anything else. So who knows?
Well, David, it's been great having you here on the show. I would encourage everyone to check out your new book. It's called Monopolized: Life in the Age of Corporate Power. If you're looking for a good beach read in this August, put down the romance novels, pick up this book, educate yourself a little bit. Also, check out David's great writing over at the American Prospect. Sign up and read David's daily, it's Unsanitized is the name of the column, right? Unsanitized. Great writing over there, as always. David, great to have you here on the show. We'd love to have you come back on regularly if you'd be a game for that.
All right, happy to do it. Thanks a lot, Clayton.
Thanks, David. I appreciate it.